Welcome to First Word. Pastor Dave here, coming to you live from beautiful Linwood, Minnesota. First Word, we explore the Bible together. We're studying the book of Mark. So whether you're new to the Bible or you've studied it a long time, we trust that you'll find this encouraging and uplifting. So let's dive in. Now, in the book of Mark, we're on to Mark 4:35. And so we've been in this passage a long time about sowing the seed and determining what kind of soil that you are. Are you having the ability to hear who Jesus is, see who Jesus really is? And now we're moving on, and we're going to read Mark 4:35 to 41. So let's read that together. It says this: "That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, 'Let's go over to the other side.'" Let me get my... Sorry, a little technical difficulty. There we go. "Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, 'Teacher, don't you care if we drowned?' He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, 'Quiet, be still.' Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, 'Why are you so afraid? Do you have still no faith?' They were terrified and asked each other, 'Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him.'" The word of the Lord. So that day, after all the teaching, they got in a boat. Jesus, I believe, was teaching from a boat, and he took off into the Sea of Galilee. Now, here's a picture of the Sea of Galilee. Beautiful, calm lake in the evening. We know what that looks like living in Minnesota here where we're filming this. And so it's a beautiful lake, but where the Sea of Galilee is and some of the high hills and the topography around there, it's well known that sudden storms can come up on this sea, and it can be dangerous. And so this is what happened that day. They went out, and suddenly there's this inrush of wind, and the peace and calm ends abruptly. Jesus was sleeping. He was tired. He was fully human. He had confidence in his disciples' seamanship. They were professional fishermen after all. It also shows that he had confidence in God, that as the boat rocked, you for sure he knew it was stormy out, and this is the peace that passes all understanding, that as we put our trust in God more and more, when life is rough and the storms are swallowing all around us, we can live with peace. That's the beautiful life, the life that others can see and want to have. And the disciples had a life of anxiousness and worry. And so they wake him up. And in verse 38, they say, "Don't you care? Do you not see what's going on here?" And it's pretty rough, indignant words. The sea or the lakes in ancient mythology symbolized the powers of chaos and evil. They were mysterious. Storms could erupt quickly. It could turn dangerous in a second. And so storms were thought to be caused by rebellious powers. And Jesus stands up and says, "Quiet, be still." And the storm leaves. It dissipates. Mark emphasizes the disciples' inability to see who Jesus is. And Jesus is frustrated with them. "Don't you have faith? Why are you so anxious and worried? Do you not know who I am?" The commentary I'm reading says that as Jewish men, and they think about this story, they would think about Psalms 107, 23 to 32. You could look that up. They would think about Jonah 1 through 16. But they would especially think about Exodus chapter 14, when the Jewish people had left Egypt. They had endured 400 years of slavery and death and torture. And then they left, and then the Egyptians came after them. And I want to read a few verses to you. It says this: "Moses answered the people, and now the people are all trapped by this huge body of water and this huge army. The most powerful army in the world is chasing them. So they have a serious storm in their life. And Moses says, 'Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. What faith that is. There's this huge body of water. There's the world's most powerful army. And there's this unarmed, untrained tribe of men and women and older folks and younger folks, completely vulnerable. And Moses has the confidence in God because he sees God rightly. He says, do not be afraid, stand firm. These Egyptians that are coming after you, you will never see them again. Jesus is frustrated that his disciples aren't displaying the same faith as Moses. Let's continue reading. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still. That was true for the boat with the disciples and Jesus. They didn't have to do anything, just be still. And then here's the story. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land, and the waters were divided. And the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. The Egyptians pursued them, and all of Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He jammed the wheels of their chariots so that they had difficulty driving. And the Egyptians said, let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and the horsemen, the entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea. Not one of them survived. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day, the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servant. Exodus chapter 14. The next chapter, 15, they sing a song of celebration. And Jesus, I think, is frustrated because his disciples are in the boat with Jesus, who's God in the flesh. And he says, you know that when God is with you, there is power over the sea, over nature. Jesus is revealing the secret. Who is he? Let the light be revealed. Jesus is showing his disciples exactly who he is. Mark told us at the very beginning. Remember at the beginning, Mark told us the end of the story. And we said, we're going to be frustrated with the disciples because they're not going to see until the very end, while others will see. Mark, after the story was done, said, this is who he is. This is the beginning of the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. Friends, may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. God bless.